Yo, what's up? It's someone that's no one here today, and welcome back for another story. We're here for yet another installment for Chapter 1 of the Drug Chronicles, which, if you don't know about, you can find a playlist called Chapter 1 Beginnings of a Psychonaut to get a better idea of the series of prior substances we've tried. And this series is basically the start of it all. It's a collection of stories of my first time trying a substance. Me and my partner at the time, Evan, sought out to do this for the sake of psychonautic purposes. We wanted to learn more of and see for ourselves what the various substances out there can do. If you already listened to some of the prior stories, you already know that Evan is a big homie of mine since high school, and we've been through quite a bit. I do highly recommend watching previous episodes before diving into this one, especially with the last one we just uploaded, my first time trying MDMA, because part of this story happens the day after that. But anyways, let's establish this story now and explain what happened with Kava Kava. Now this is somewhat of a collective experience, more so solely just my first time and Evan's first time. Now Kava Kava is just another substance that happened to pop up in our research when picking out what we were going to try. It is legal, so that did play a big role for us in deciding to do it. Also, we wanted to do it because it's known to act as a sedative. So we ordered some and it came in shortly, just around the time by the first time I tried MDMA. Now I originally planned to do it with Evan the first time, but when it came in and I hit him up, he was busy with some stuff. I at the time was just very excited to try something new again, so I was just eager and told him I was going to make it and try some, but also keep some for us so he could try it too. Because the thing was, we ended up getting the powdered version of kava, which is pretty common, but not the first choice for many people, because with that, you have to strain it out into a drink. The pure powder won't do too well straight up, could cause liver problems. There's other methods to get around this, like it's even common for some grocery stores to sell it, or there's even some powder that's ready to be consumed. But anyways, I didn't really give a fuck and dove into the process right away. I'm someone who enjoys the process of preparation anyways. But I'm not going to break down how I did everything. I pretty much followed a basic guide for my first time, and after some time, I ended up with this light brown looking water. And this first time didn't stand out in a huge way to me. I mean, it did as a new substance, but it wasn't anything that strong or profound. I drank it over a slow period of about 30 minutes. I didn't feel it for a good half hour, if not an hour. And this first time especially, I may have not even felt it if I wasn't sober. But I was just at the crib. It was late afternoon without much going on. The first thing I remember is feeling the relaxation and downer-like qualities from the substance. I could easily see how it might help with stress relief or with sleep. I didn't necessarily want to lie down because I wanted to feel the effects out, but I could definitely feel a pull. Now I wouldn't say I felt high really. It didn't really provide much in terms of recreational effects. I for the most part felt like myself, but just naturally really chilled out. If you ever experienced the calmness of meditation, I would say it's slightly like that in a way. Like I was pretty content with just being and going with the flow of things. And I pretty much ended up doing what I would have done sober, which at this point was more so recreational since the night was coming in. I just took this relaxation, talked with my mom a bit, ate dinner, played some games, probably watched a few shows, and knocked out. Like I said, not very much happens. But then again, not a lot happens with kava in general, but these feelings. But I know you all probably want to know about the first time Evan and I tried it together, right? It was definitely more eventful, but like I said, this happened right after my first time with MDMA. And if you know, we stayed up late as fuck, on top of smoking almost an ounce. Not exactly an ounce, but pretty damn close. Now if you know, because we smoked so much, Evan was kinda blown. He was really looking forward to trying this kava, and just getting fucked up in a way, to kinda just forget about it. He told me he wanted to drink it, but also he wanted to try and smoke it. This guy Evan was always trying to smoke some shit, especially when we first started exploring, probably because that's his favorite ROA. We had researched that some people tried smoking it with varied results, so we wanted to give it a go. Now in theory, this isn't really supposed to do much because the active ingredients, the cavalactones, burn up at a certain temperature. Like I believe it's possible to vape it, but not actually combust it. But still, some people report it can be an ROA. Anyways, on top of this, we of course were going to smoke bud. We still had maybe a few grams left of that purple kush. But then Evan also wanted to add kratom into the mix and drink some of that. I know Evan liked kratom to a degree because it is something that will have an impact, and he did somewhat enjoy it. But boy, does this guy hate drinking it. I think I only seen him one time where he actually got through his cup. But anyways, Evan comes and slides mid-afternoon. It was a really nice day out, so we decided on top of everything, we would have to go on a walk. We first went to the classic park we always smoked at, this little low-key spot where we would always hotbox his whip. Most of the time, we're just chatting it up about the night before and whatnot while getting everything ready. I bought the extracted batch and poured us up cups. Now I figured this would be more tolerable for Evan, but from his first sip right away, I knew he didn't like the taste of this either. He wouldn't be finishing his cup of kava this day. We also poured up kratom with orange juice we had and began to sip on that. We started off by first finishing a joint that Evan had from the day before, which didn't hit very hard, which, go figure, I just greened out the prior day. But then we roll a blunt and fill it with some kava. Now I don't know how much this actually hit, but it smoked and we got high. The burn of it was kinda stupid though. The kava would burn a lot slower, understandably so, since it was a powder while the weed's a flower. So we had to fix it a few times throughout and watch the ash a lot. But either way, it hits nonetheless, and I slowly begin to feel the kava. Maybe from the smoke, but definitely from the drink. The kratom as well. It came on slowly, but this combination felt like a dream. That's probably the best way to put it. Things just kinda happened, and we settled into it. I would say my mind pretty much just cleared up and was put into the present moment. The sedation in this combination was almost euphoric, but definitely just enjoyable as a body high. But I wouldn't really feel this until we decided to go for that walk. We decided to go to a pretty nice park not far away from where we were, and I have to say my sense of direction was kind of fucked. There was some slight disinhibition. Because of this, I didn't really feel like going in deep and getting lost, so we stuck to the main trails there. But if there is one thing that was great about this combo, it's just the relaxation of walking in nature. I felt super at peace with everything, and we both just got lost into that walk. We played music from the speaker too, which just added to the enjoyment of everything. The walk was definitely A1. Colors felt a lot more vibrant as well. But we walked just in that daze for like 2 hours or something. The only drawback being crossing people and trying to make sure we didn't look stupid or fucked. Which we didn't, but we probably would have seemed high if someone were to talk to us. But either way, that was that, and Evan and I go back to his whip to smoke a little more. We chill at his crib a bit afterwards, and I remember I was just intrigued as fuck by his turtles that he kept in the kitchen. Evan said he enjoyed the kava, but wanted to get fucked up still. He told me that he was going to hit me up later, and we might go drink with his cousin, who was coming into town that night. So he drops me off, and I snag some food real fast. Now I end up just chilling, somewhat tired from the combo, and he doesn't hit me up until like 9 or 10. Now I didn't know what to expect. I knew Evan wanted to drink a bit, and I had no idea how it would be with his cousin. Little did I know, his cousin liked to go in with his alcohol. And by in, I mean good quality. This night is the first night I ever drank 1738, a bottle that's known to be somewhat pricey, but let me tell you, does it feel worth it. But Evan hits me up and pretty much pulls up 2 minutes later. I hop in his whip, somewhat tired, but with him are Isabel and Grace, 2 common people in our stories. Isabel was a good friend of ours, and Grace was her friend and Evan's sister. I didn't expect them to come because I know they didn't really like to drink. Isabel still wanted another roll, but if she could have gotten it, she would have by then. But we head over there, and it's right next to Evan's crib. There's about 10 people in all. No one in particular stands out this night as doing anything special. It was pretty much just Evan's cousin, his girlfriend, and a few of their friends. Evan's cousin is like the manager on a big construction site, so he was getting paid good, so in result, he stocked up on the drinks real good. There were Modelo's and Corona as a base, of course, probably 5 cases in total. Then, of course, there was the 1738, but there was also like 4 or so other bottles of all kinds of alcohol, your vodka, your tequila, rum, whiskey, and then like 10 different mixers on the table we had set up. Amongst all of us, that was way more than enough to get shit-faced. And I know coming in, I wasn't necessarily looking to get shit-faced. I came in remembering all the times I've puked off alcohol the previous summer, and how a good portion of it wasn't very fun, especially afterwards. But Evan was intent on getting us just fucked up off this. I wouldn't really have much of a choice, as I usually just will go along with his influence, but I almost make it out without puking. So we start off with Evan just pouring me the liquor straight with ice. Now if alcohol could ever hit right, 1738 is without a doubt one that will do it. It wasn't bad on its own, which, it wasn't pleasant being straight hard liquor, but it definitely had a smoothness to it, but also with hints of just something that will get you fucked, which you feel pretty fast. I remember starting off not really trying to go hard, but the more I drank, the more I just sank into that mood of not giving a fuck and just living it up in the moment. Now I mentioned in previous stories, when I first drank, I would get really hyper and want to turn up. That was exactly what was going on, and I was starting to drink carelessly. There was Mexican music being played, and I couldn't help but get up and dance to it, which was literally just me bopping my head around and swaying around, not giving a fuck, feeling light as a feather. Everyone was just amused, and Evan joined right in with me, and then everyone else. At which point, we were just vibing. And I can't really tell you much that went down. I remember just wandering the backyard like an idiot because I was just so fucked. He had a baby trampoline set up, and I remember trying to get on, but I instantly felt waves of nausea, so I had to stop. But doing handstands wasn't out of the question. But we just get shit-faced. I get so drunk that I easily just get lost into whatever the fuck was going on. And when it hits right, it hits right. The quality was A+. Probably the best alcohol I've ever had. I didn't feel like I needed that much at all to feel it, but that doesn't mean I didn't drink a lot this night. Of course, Evan set me up with Coronas and poured me up some of the other hard liquor throughout also, which, honestly, I can't even remember how all of that went down. Evan would just hand me some shit, and I would just start drinking it. I remember getting to that point, though, where I wanted to hit a blunt, but it was a sad time. We had smoked it all earlier, and even if we did want some, Evan's main plug was out of town, so we would have had to bet on chance for someone to serve us. To say the least, we didn't end up smoking, and that kind of blew. But we drink until like 1 in the morning. Of course I wanted to go longer, just because of how good I was feeling, but I guess a lot of them had to get up early for work or whatever. We didn't really have anywhere else to kick it after, so they were just gonna call it. So Isabel becomes our driver. Yeah, fucking Evan would drive off Xanax, but not alcohol. Don't ask me why to explain that. But Isabel decided not to drink any, so she would be a solid driver, of course. The whole ride back felt like a roller coaster almost. We had the music blasting, and Evan was just taking videos of him and me fucked up in the back seat. It was a good vibe nonetheless. But before I knew it, I was getting dropped off. Now at this point, I was just smashed drunk. Evan asked me if I'm going to be able to make it to the door, because I don't get out right away. It would never be a quick pull off with me. I would end up losing my phone and all this other bullshit, so I'd spend minutes trying to find everything. But I told Evan I'd be good, and he was just like, "Alright man, I'll catch you later." I said goodbye to everyone and got out. Now I make it like 2 steps out of the car door and immediately just felt the weight of the world rush into my existence, and it hit me right in the stomach. Now I would have been fine, I think, if I didn't have that car ride. The motion of the ride just fucked with how I was feeling, so I ended up yakking pretty bad. I puke up what I had for dinner for sure. Evan's just laughing his ass off because of how fucked I was. He asked me if I'm good once I finished, and I say I got it. I was pretty determined to handle it myself, I guess. But that's honestly because I thought I was good to. But not even another 2 steps later, and I'm back bent over yakking more into my front yard. I could only imagine what the neighbors were thinking if any of them saw. Again, the same shit happens. Evan asks me if I'm good, and I say I'm good, but another few steps, and yak. After the 3rd yak, Evan finally gets out and aids me to the door, where he looks me in the eyes with a huge grin of amusement and asks me yet again if I'm gonna be good. And after puking 3 times, I got most of what I needed out. I said thanks, and I was for sure good now. We said peace, and I hardly remember shit after this. I most likely got some water, maybe some food, then rushed to my bed and collapsed. Not at all how I thought the night would end, but that's what happened on the day Evan and I tried Kava Kava. His first time on it, and both our first time smoking it. Overall, I say it does a good job at uplifting your mood somewhat, and then just relaxing your mind and body. I could see it possibly replacing caffeine, but in my experience, Kava has gotten stronger for me with its reverse tolerance. So because of its sedation, I prefer it as an evening beverage, if anything now. But I think this was a solid introduction for Kava Kava for this channel. I know there's been quite a few requests for a Kava Kava report, which we will get to, and we most likely will review Kava Kava at some point also. It's an interesting substance, and there's a lot to talk about with it. So if you want to see that sooner, hey, let me know in the comments below and we can get to that, or anything at all. If you did enjoy today's story, do me a favor, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, follow the socials, share it. It's been someone that's no one, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.